Hey everyone, Steve Joy here. I'm an artist and game designer, and in this video I'm going to talk about Mobile Task Force. It's a really great game. Can't wait to get into it. So this is a game that was sent in to me from the game's creator, and that would be Tetra the artist. Right here, written and illustrated by. It has a few other artists in it as well. There's a QR code here. I printed this out. It's an indie game. It's in development. And so the website, the rule set is completely free. It also is under the Creative Commons. So I printed out a copy for myself to read and to take a look at. And yeah, it's roughly based on Knave, and it's Mobile Task Force Field Manual, which is for a website. It's basically rules based around a website that you can go to, and you can find literally tons of information on the campaign world that this game is set in. It's a really neat idea. I absolutely love it. I was quite blown away by it. So the website itself is called the SCP, which is Secure, Contain, and Protect. And the idea is that you are a part of a group that and your military group that goes around the world. This is the scenario of this game, although on the actual website, the SCP, there may be different scenarios, which is one of the wonderful things about the website itself. So you're part of a group, a paramilitary group, and you go around looking for these anomalies. These are things that exist outside of what we would consider like reality. And you have to get these anomalies and contain them, and then protect the world from them, basically. And the idea is that you confront them, you stop them, you contain them, and then you move them to a base or something where they are held. And then there's a chance that they'll escape and so forth. It kind of reminds me of Ghostbusters, actually, in a lot of ways. And but that's the idea behind it. Here is the QR code if you want to pause and zoom in on that and find it easily. Yeah, so I'm just going to get into it. Like I say, I've got a printed copy of it, and I very much like this game. I really do. As I say, it's set in the the SCP universe, and I'll put a link for that in the video's description so you can find it. And that site itself is set in the same world as the game system. I think the game system is based on that world. And there's over 10,000 stories that people who follow the website have submitted. And it's just an absolute goldmine for ideas and inspiration, and it's a really cool idea. What I like so much about this is that the game itself, the creator sort of used that in order to give background to this game in a really rich way without having to actually do it themselves, but have this amazing background. It's just an excellent idea. Now the rules themselves are awesome. I really like them. The character creation is extremely simple. You basically have your stats here: muscle, agility, stamina, knowledge, procedure, and spirit. And then it's pretty simple. You just take 3 6-sided dice. I like this. Everything's explained very well. It's really well written. So basically you just roll 3 6-sided dice, and you take the lowest score. So here it would be 3, right? So my muscle, I would have a bonus of 3, and I'd have a score of 13. So I can use this as a bonus, and I can use this as a roll under if I want. is the idea. And you just go down and you do all of those. So here it would be 2 and 12. It's a great method for creating a character. 3, 13. We got here. Come on! Almost. So what you do here is you just take the lowest die roll, and then you add 10 to it, and that gives you your score. So, pretty simple. You're not going to get +6 very often. So, that would be my ability score. So that's how that works. I think it's a really great system. It's quite simple. Really easy to get the bonuses. Your roll under stats are really easy. So, here it does use level. And then for your budget, you start off with 11 budget credits, 10 plus player level to spend on equipment. This is something I would like to see kind of changed a little bit. If I were going to play this game, I would change it. I would make, instead of levels, I would have ranks. So you rank 4, rank 5, rank 6, and then just try and figure out whatever equivalent that would be in the game world. And then I would base wages basically on that, what the players would get, and then they would be able to sort of get equipment based on their rank instead of level. It would just make a little more sense to me. And then I figured out something for like wages. I would have it be 50K a year, say, plus your rank times 10%. So that would be your bonus. If you rank 2, you'd get a plus 20% bonus to your 50K a year. Go up from there. But it's a really nice system the way it is. It works. I like it. I would just add that into it just a little bit. Because I think that would be really neat. So it doesn't have a lot of weapons, but this game, I should mention, this game is a work in progress. A work in progress. So it's not finished yet, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more added to it. And besides, I mean, it's Creative Commons. If a person feels like adding stuff to it themselves, they certainly can. I don't see that it would be all that difficult to add things to it. So here you've got different weapons, and then the cost. So again, you start off with a budget credits of 10 plus your level, or as I would do it, rank, and then that would be you would be able to get this equipment just equipped to you. Now the idea is that your unit, which would be the players that your group, you guys would be called operators, and you guys go out and chase after these anomalies, subdue them and whatever. And it has a downtime. There's downtimes in between when you're not doing that. And then you can go out, you get missions, you go out, or else you live on the base. However, I mean, there's just a million different scenarios. Not to mention, if you get into the website, then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you might be, you might find. I haven't gone through all the stories by any means. And the website itself, the SCP Foundation, you're basically allowed to write. You're allowed to you can start at any position in history. You can make stuff up and change it however you want. So there's not a lot of uniformity between the stories, is my impression. I might be wrong about that, but that's my impression. So there's a lot of leeway given to players and stuff, or to writers, sorry, which would give a lot of leeway to people setting up the game. I think that that's really neat. So, tools and accessories. Now, interesting, it uses the slot system for encumbrance, which is something I really like. I think that's a great system. So, this is kind of a fun section too. It's, if you want to sort of quickly create a character for yourself, you can just do it randomly, and then you can give yourself a call sign, and then you can figure out your unit's patches. So I think this is pretty neat. I'm a big fan of the 5-factor, but this works great too. Another thing, a little tip that I think is pretty neat is if you have a personality, you can associate it with an animal and then kind of the characteristics of the animal. So you might have a character and you might say he's associated with a bear or a wolf or a cougar or a, or whatever, a deer, and then you'd give characteristics of that sort of in your description. Like a deer might be sleek and quick, that sort of thing. A bear is a large guy with big arms, maybe kind of hairy skin, that kind of thing. Rules for playing the game. How to use your abilities, which is pretty neat. The game is very simple, very straightforward. I actually really like this game. I think it's just great. And I like it uses this range band system, which I first encountered in Traveller many moons ago, and I think it's a great system to use. Very simple, easy. Don't have to measure everything out in feet. I like the stunt. It's got a stunt system where if you're not going to attack, then you can use a stunt, and your stunt would be based on one of your attributes, and the director, who is the basically the GM, the name of the GM in this game is Director, would figure out what ability score your stunt is going to be under, and then you would make a roll to see if you did it or not. I think the damage is really great. It's more than enough. It's quick. I like it. The radioactivity is very interesting, and I think that with the radioactivity, something I would like to see, I think that would be kind of a neat add-on to this game, is if when creating the character, if you did a maximum age, sort of as long as your character is going to live, and then when you got radioactive damage, it would reduce, because here when taking radioactive damage, temporarily reduce your total hit points by half of the damage received. On a target rest, you gain back 1d4 of your lost max hit points. But I think it would be neat if it also reduced your maximum age. That would give a little more, like that would make radiation a little more dangerous, maybe a little more realistic. Not that games have to be realistic, but I think that would be a lot of fun. One thing that's missing from this, I think, if you have elite unit, if you have an elite unit of operators running around the world and so forth, they would have a handler, somebody that sort of interfaces between the organization and them, somebody who keeps an eye on them and watches them. And the DM or the GM, the director, sort of fills in and plays that role. But I think if I were going to play this, I would have a director NPC that interface between, and I would remove myself as the DM from that. And I'd have handlers would be, I would give the handler a character. The handler would be in charge of leveling up, because leveling up in this would be, if I were to do the game, it would be ranking up. But the way this is, it's leveling up in the traditional sense, and the director, who's the GM, just keeps track of experience points and stuff like that. But I think it would be fun to have an actual handler review that with a character, quirks and stuff. And then as you level up, you get access to more money and more equipment. And I think that would be kind of fun. But it works great the way it is. The game's absolutely awesome the way it is. Yeah, so I'm getting my pages all out of order, I think. So what else have we got here? Leveling up. Yeah, nice and simple. I really like the leveling up system. And I think there's no reason to keep it, games make all that stuff entirely too complicated a lot of times, I think. So I like that. Again, I have here on my notes, Ghostbusters. Very much reminds me of Ghostbusters. I think, like here's the containment system and whether the things stay contained and stuff. For me, it's a little too much like Ghostbusters. I think that I would sort of remove that a little bit out of the game and just have it sometimes they escape, sometimes they don't. I don't think I would put too much emphasis on it. you know, I mean, Ghostbusters was a great movie, but it was a comedy. And for myself anyway, I would have a hard time, you know, not starting to think of this game as a comedy. And this game is not a comedy. This is a great game. Like, I really like the mechanics of this game. I like the way, I like everything about it. I would play the hell out of this game if I had a group that would be into it. But we're playing basic fantasy right now. So, but it's, you know, it's great. It's really great. Okay, so difficulty levels, right? You know, pretty simple here. If you want to make a test against an ability score. Now, I like these infiltration rules, you know, breaching rules for getting, you know, and this is great. This is, I really like this for getting into and out of things and stuff. Really nice that that's included. Just because in modern combat, modern warfare, that's such a big issue. So cover stories, I guess you would need cover stories just to keep from spooking the public. I think it would be important to keep the public unaware that this stuff was going on. Like, for example, all the drones flying over the U.S. right now. Oh, and the creepy fog that everybody's seeing everywhere. You know, or maybe, you know, the wildfires, if there are, say, you know, maybe, covert forces starting them or something. I don't know. That's just maybe, right? By the way, my heart goes out to everybody in that. It's just absolutely horrendous event going on right now. So I don't mean to make light of it. I'm just saying this game is sort of based on the real world, you know, so stuff like you can use real world things in the game quite easily. That's an aspect of the game that I really appreciate as well. But anyway, you would want to keep from spooking the public, so I could see why you would need a cover story. You would be, now if you're living on the base, I don't know why you would need a cover story, and later on it says you'd be living on the base, but if you don't live on the base, then for sure a cover story would be important. My opinion, the director, yeah, it needs to be an NPC like, you need a GM, don't get me wrong, but I think interfacing between, you know, the organization, the SCP, and or the military, or whatever you're using, whatever scenario you've dreamed up, and the operatives, you would want a handler in there, just because that's how it's done in real life, and I think it would be kind of a nice element to add. Weather table, I'm not sure why this is here, but okay. It's always nice to have a weather table. Downtime activities, like I say, in between adventures, that's always a really nice thing to have, especially in a modern kind of a game, because you're not going to be 24/7, minute after minute, chasing down strange monsters and anomalies. So I think that's pretty neat. Gotta have that. Now this is really neat. As well, is that this game, aside from being Creative Commons 4.0, which is the share alike, is it's also meant to be easily integrated with the OSR. So if you want to add magic to it, or you want to add fantasy monsters or whatever, you certainly could. It's meant to be built that way. Like I say, the game is a work in progress, so I think that this is probably something that's going to be added later, but it's all redacted right now. Covers inspiration and resources, which is pretty neat. Now this is an anomalous creature page. This is for creating your own anomalous creatures, which is really neat. You've got, you know, nice tables for it, which I love. Random monster generation. You can never ever go wrong with random monster generation. You know, I just think for a free game and for a work in progress, I have to give this game absolute top marks. I have to give this absolute top marks. Anomalous groups interests. So these are some different scenarios that you could be going through. I highly recommend going to the SCP website and just investigating, reading it a bit, just to get a feel for the game or feel for the world, if that's how you want to play in it. Now, I've been thinking about this game, and I would use this, you know, these rules are great. I think that they could be used in all kinds of scenarios. So here's just some thoughts of things that I might do differently or add to it. The game itself is very playable as is, and I think that it would be a lot of fun. But I can't help it. I like to make games. I like to think about this stuff. So I think you can take my ideas here just with a grain of salt. They're just ideas. If somebody wanted to use them or not or whatever, go for it, or not if you don't, whatever. But I would like to see some kind of a simple skill system in it. Just, you know, just to give small bonuses for skills. Like I say, the game is very playable as is. You know, it doesn't actually need much to be changed on it, or it doesn't need anything to be changed on it, actually. But I would just like to see some kind of skill system. I think it would be neat if the operators had some kind of military background. So I'm thinking in terms of like Traveler. You know how you come from a service in Traveler? I think it would be neat if somehow there was your skills maybe were based on a background, some kind of military, you know, Army, Navy, CIA, for Canada, CSIS, or maybe for England, MI6, because the SCP is supposed to be a worldwide organization, like they're protecting the entire world. So you could have military backgrounds, or you could have, you know, intelligence backgrounds, or whatever from any intelligence service around the world. This isn't America-centric at all. So, you know, that would be a lot of fun too, and I would like to incorporate that into it somehow if I were going to be playing this. And I absolutely love the website that supports this. It's great. It's so much information, so much background stuff to play with. It's just a goldmine. I think this game's absolutely fantastic. So my hat's off completely to Tetra, the artist. Brilliant job. I think this is an absolute home run. I recommend playing it, modifying it. I don't think anybody should play this game the same way. You know, every group should have their own rules and their own way of looking at it. I shared some of my thoughts on it, but yeah, go to the site, download it, print it up or not if you don't want, and have a go at it, because I have to realize I give this game an A+. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching my video, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.